Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Welcome to International Internship University. International Internship University, or IIU, is a leading virtual education system and global brand confederation, which is the most valuable and trusted worldwide and well reputed in delivering innovative programs. Globally, it is a trusted name for quality training programs and is committed to providing better and virtual education to all young learners of the globe. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents. Under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Pius Pandit Sir, a committed and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. My name is Herdiana Dewi Nurfik from Indonesia. Today, I'm taking the privilege to be a trainer or research person for the training session by the Training, Learning, and Development Department of the International Internship University. Our topic for today is the importance of soft skills in the 21st century. So now I'm going to share my screen. So what is soft skills? Soft skills are those skills and personal qualities that cannot be measured by an employer. It's the opposite with the hard skill, when we actually know it's really easy to measure the hard skill by having a task or kind of certification. So what is soft skills actually? It's more than just getting a great job. Instead, it's about knowing yourself, understanding how others perceive you, and knowing what steps to take to improve yourself and your chances of achieving your dreams. And why is it important for us in the 21st century? Because soft skills are important. They help us to cope with the change and adapt in the workplace, school, and home. The reality is that sooner or later, people will move away from your company or change careers. Employees will leave the company. New people will be hired. Team dynamics will change, and responsibilities must adapt it to match these changes. So soft skills are all about staying relevant in every area of our lives: work, family, and personal relationship. So if we talk about the soft skill, is not only necessary for the work stuff. We also need our ability to have a soft skill even when we are having connection with our friends. Because when we don't have that soft skills, we cannot communicate better with another person, or we might not understand what another people trying to communicate with us. So the importance of soft skill in the 21st century is because skills are such a new currency in the 21st century. As the technology continues to advance, there will be a greater need for people with specialized skills and abilities to keep up with the pace of change. And the importance of soft skill is especially true for young people today. The jobs of tomorrow maybe do not exist, but they will require a wide range of skills that can be learned through educational experiences in high school and beyond. For example, many countries already predict the kind of the future jobs. It's not already happened yet, but the young generation already try to learn those things in order to survive in the future. That's why it's really also important for us to keep up with the great intention for learning about soft skills, not only hard skills. So here are some important reasons why it's important for students to develop soft skills. First, soft skills will prepare them for their future careers. What does it mean? Young people need to know about all kinds of careers, from doctors and lawyers to chefs and pilots, so they can make informed decisions about what kind of training is needed to pursue those careers when they are ready. But they also need to know that there are many ways to develop skills beyond traditional academic programs. That is really important to notice that in every position or in every job, there must be soft skills ability between people and another people. Even if we talk about teamwork, we also need to develop that soft skills as well. Second, soft skills help young people find meaningful work. The world's leading economists have identified skill as an essential ingredient for strengthening their economies and creating jobs that pay well. In fact, almost all countries now recognize that investing in education pays off not only in terms of high wages, but also higher productivity and economic growth overall. That's why when we learn about soft skills, we might understand what's actually the purpose or the vision of the company that we are working for, what our purpose or our vision to work with that company. We just don't go wake up in the morning and then go to the company, but we actually understand our core value for ourselves and what we contribute to that company and what kind of things that might affect the environment. Next, soft skills help create equal opportunities. Building soft skills and developing confidence is so important in increasingly competitive job market. Some kind of job might not need so many hard skills, but they might need so many requirements for the soft skill. That's why it will make the balance for people who try to find a job, because in every job I do believe that, I'm sure that you all might believe me, that it will be balanced skills that need required in order to achieve certain goals in the workplace or in the school. So remember, work on your mindset first before you work on new skills. Because having a positive mindset for working towards success is just as important as the skills and knowledge you have. This includes being able to self-reflect, being open to new ideas, keep learning, and self-motivated. Why we have to work on our mindset first? Because no matter how hard you are spending your time for learning new skill, if you don't have the right mindset, then you are going to trapped by your own thoughts. Maybe you start to learn about data scientists, and then in the process you feel like, I don't find actually the meaning of this work. Or maybe you feel like there are so many competitors, or there are so many people who try to work as a data scientist as well. So you feel like lack of motivation, you don't know where this job might lead you in the future. That's why when you have the right mindset, then we can actually clearly find the values.
Dear Herdiana,
Yes.
please, can you close your windows or some? We hear.
Yes, I already closed it, maybe because my house close to the mosque. Is it really loud?
Okay. So you can talk a little louder, please.
Oh, okay. I will talk louder. So as I have mentioned before, we have to work on our mindset first before we try to work on new skills. So there are two types of the mindset that people might have. First is a growth mindset. Next is a fixed mindset. Growth mindset is people who is having a freedom of thought, and the fixed mindset is kind of people who is limiting themselves. First, growth mindset, they try to preserve in the face of values. On the other hand, fixed mindset avoids challenges. So it means that person with a fixed mindset, they don't want to take new opportunity, or they afraid to do something new because they avoid challenges. But people with the growth mindset, they try to face the failure, even though it's just a new beginning, even though it's just something that they want to start and they are not sure where going lead them with it. But they already have a desire and confidence enough, and they take a chance to take that challenge. Next, with the growth mindset, a person will think effort is required to build new skills. It means when we want to learn something new, they know that they have to invest their commitment and time. They know that what kind of the things that they actually need in order to achieve the new skills. But people with a fixed mindset, they ignore feedback. So let's say you have a coworker or you have a friend and suggest you, hey dear, maybe you need to learn this new skill in order to achieve a better career. But that person with a fixed mindset will refuse it directly. They might say, oh, I'm sorry, I might not have time for it. And I think I don't need that skill for now. So thank you. Maybe they will just say it. But the person with a growth mindset, they also find inspiration in other success. When they see or when they heard about another people's success, they feel like, wow, it's really amazing. And they really get inspired by them. And people with the fixed mindset feel like threatened by others' success. That's a really huge difference. Is they also might be jealous, and they are absolutely not a supportive person when it comes to the success of another person. Next, people with the growth mindset also accepts criticism. It means when they try to learn new skills and they know they just starting something new, or they already in the process of learning something new, they try to accept the criticism, no matter how hard it will for them. They will try their best to accept the criticism. But people with a fixed mindset, they tend to desire to look smart. What does it mean by it? It means they want to be the only one person who want to look smarter than another people. So when another people give such a criticism, they refuse it. They ignore the feedback. They ignore the critic as well. Next, people with the growth mindset also have a great desire to learn. And on the other side, people with the fixed mindset give up easily. When it comes to try something new or find or face the new challenge, people with the growth mindset try to have a motivation with all the things that they are facing, and they want to keep learning it, even though they just face a failure. But people with the fixed mindset, they try to, oh, okay, this is difficult, I cannot do this anymore, I don't want to try anything. So they give up easily. They don't want to try it the second or third time. Next, people with a growth mindset build ability. And people with the fixed mindset think everything is fixed abilities. It means those people with a growth mindset thinks that anything is possible as long as we want to put effort to learn it, as long as we want really stay disciplined and commitment with our goals. But people with a fixed mindset thinks like everything is fixed, like those people just born whether they are smart, whether they are dumb or anything, and they don't understand that actually our brain can develop by the time when we try to do something new. They don't think that actually we can reprogram our brain. So they give up easily. They think like it's not possible. Like if you were if you were dumb, for example, in the elementary school, then a person with a fixed mindset is going to say you might be a dumb person in your entire life. But actually what happened is all of the process that we are having can actually shape and change our personality. That's why It's different with the people with the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. And when it comes to learn soft skills that we all need in the 21st century, we have to set the right mindset. We have to place ourselves in a growth mindset, because when we learn something new and we be open to something new, everything can be received much easier than when we are trying to limiting ourselves. Next, the 21st century skills, the metro forces or rubric performance areas. This is mostly for the students. The first skills is critical thinking. Next, collaboration. Third, communication. And the last one is creativity. Why we need a critical thinking? We have known that so many things happen in this world. So we actually need to process information and discover all the things that happen around us. We need to try to be open and try to find new ideas. We also need the ability to interpretation and analysis for all the things that we just learned or we are learning or we have learned. Next, we also have a reasoning season in the critical thinking. And then the next part is constructing arguments, which means like when we come up with the new ideas and the other person are having maybe different ideas with us, we have to come up with the constructive arguments. We don't only say, okay, we agree with you. Because when we try to develop critical thinking, we try to interpret and analyze everything that we receive from outside. So we can try to make a constructing argument as well. Next, in the critical way, it also includes problem solving. Why it's really important? Because when we know we are facing a problems, when we cannot solve it, then it will bring another problem, whether it's in short or long term. That's why it's really important. Second, it's collaboration, leadership and initiative. It's really important these days, because when we just become a follower, we can actually explore and discover ourselves. In the collaboration, we also need cooperation and flexibility, which means that we are having an open or freedom to be anything that actually switch or maybe match and match with the situation. We don't have to be a stubborn person and try to have fixed mindset. Like, for example, you got a new job and you have a new department, and the new coworkers or the new partner in your office trying to say something to you that compare with your previous job. And in order to have a great job in that new place, you have to be flexible. You have to adapt everything in order to achieve the goal of the new company. Next, responsibility and productivity. And after I collaborate using digital media, maybe for responsibility and productivity, you may have known it well that we need to be responsible and we need to maintain our productivity when we talk about the workplace. And the collaborate using digital media, it actually depends on kind of the field that you are working. But this day, it seems like every type of the jobs that we are seeing outside seems related to the digital media. That's why it's really important for us to have a desire to learn new skills. Next, responsiveness and constructive feedback. Not only we have to accept the criticism, we also have to develop a skill when we can give a responsive and constructive feedback. So when we are working in the teamwork, it will help our team members. Next, communication. The first thing that is really important for communication is effective listening. Why? Because when you just listen and you don't know what actually the meaning that you are listening, it will be bored and not effective. Next, delivering oral presentation. It's really important to deliver oral presentation like I'm doing right now, because when you are, let's say, genius or smart person, you have so many ideas on your mind. Maybe you want to make a new expansion, or maybe you want to invent something new, you want to make a product, you want to share, a great ideas with your boss or with your friends, but because you don't have the ability to deliver oral presentation, then another person take that place, another person take that chance, and you lose your chance to explore and discover yourself. Next, engaging in conversation and discussion. It's really important not only for effective listening, where we listen to another person and try to build a strong connection with the speaker, but when we try to engage in the conversation and discussion, it's really build the trust and build the empathy toward each other, and the other speaker might feel like you really pay attention and respect them. But when you don't try to engage in conversation or discussion, like you be silent in hour, for example, another person might think like you actually don't want to talk to them, and they might find it is rude in a certain ways. But it's also important to notice that maybe for kind of people who is having introvert personality, they don't want to speak too much, but in fact, when it comes to something great, new ideas, it's really important to notice that we have also contribute something and give our ideas and engage with the communication or with anything that we are having at the present moment. Next, writing. It's also important to notice about the writing, because we need to inform and supporting argument when we might not be able to speak, or when we cannot give an oral presentation, for example, in email. We also need to have a writing skill to address our thoughts and address what actually happened in the workplace clearly. So we also need to maintain the writing skills as well. Fourth, the creativity. The first thing in a creativity is idea generation, and the second is idea design and retirement. When it comes to the creativity, I'm sure that you might already thought, oh yeah, it must relate it to the idea. So what kind of the idea in the creativity? This can be the idea that generate or design something new, or replace or make a previous product become a better one. Third, openness and courage to explore. When we talk about creativity, we want to address new ideas. For example, we have also have the skills that need to be opened and courage to explore, because when we talk about creativity and we don't want to be opened and we don't have the courage to explore, then actually it will shut back ourselves from being creative or from being exploring something new. So in order to be a creative person or to develop a creativity, we also need to maintain about the openness and courage to explore. Next, in creativity, we also have to maintain work creatively with others. So don't be a selfish person where you only want yourself to be the creative one, because in the workplace and school, we also might have some kind of group jobs or group project or group tasks with the school. So we have to engage with the other people or the other members and build creativity together. When you think like, okay, I'm creative enough, don't think like you only want to show off yourself, because when it comes to the teamwork and you have your own creativity, try to address your idea and try to engage with another member so it can stimulate their creativity as well. Next, creative production and innovation. So when it comes to the workplace, creativity means like we are having a creativity to make a new products, to make a new innovation. when we can have this form, it means we also have a desire to make something new and don't be afraid to start over again, even if maybe the first innovation might not working well. Then don't give up, because the creative production and innovation needs to keep going. Okay, next is the 8 most important soft skills include on resume. So for the students or those people who are looking for jobs, actually there are so many soft skills. Maybe I can list 20 soft skills, but I think this it is the most important that you need to put on your resume when you're trying to apply a job, so it can be really on point and you can get a really catching match with kind of the job that you want. First, communication. When we talk about the communication, it comes to the negotiation, presentation, promoting, and confidence, like in the previous slide. So when we talk or when we are having communication with another people, we also have to notice our confidence. And we also have the skill to promote something, because maybe we're working in the sales field, so we have to promote something. So the main skills in communication that they need actually is about promoting and confidence. Second is leadership. In a leadership, you have to show that you are someone who is achievement, someone who has something achievement, and also inspiring trust, motivation, and coordination. Make sure that you put a little sentence that shows that you have enough motivation and you are good in coordination and you are inspiring in trust. Third is adaptability. When we talk about applying job, it means you are going to work in a new environment, in the new place with the new people. So you have this skill or adaptability, because when you cannot adapt with a new place, then you can mess up many places. That's why it's really important to be open-mindedness, and then responsibility, and then proactiveness and positivity. Remember that in a new place with the new people around you, you really have to pay attention to their fourth abilities in adaptability, because you might want to have a new friends, maybe in the new workplace, and you also want to enjoy the new environment. Fourth, teamwork. Teamwork absolutely need collaboration, coordination, influencing, and also support. If you want to address a teamwork skills on your resume, for example, you can mention about kind of the volunteer work or kind of the project that you are working with another people that show you can support another person to succeed, and you can also influencing them, and you also have a good coordination with them. Fifth, problem solving. When we talk about problem solving, like in the previous slide, it can be active listening, prioritizing, discussion, and analysis. Why we need to prioritize them? Because when we are trying to communicate our problem to others, or even try to talk the problems to ourselves, we have to prioritize what kind of the things that actually need to be done or need to be fixed. Because when we cannot think about it, or when we cannot define the prioritization, then we cannot solve the problem. Six, time management. When we talk about the time management, it's absolutely need about the goal setting, scheduling, delegation, and auditing. When we don't maintain about the goal setting, then we can lose anything. Goal setting must be included with the scheduling, because if you only make a goal setting, for example, and you don't schedule something, it's just like you have a dream without an action, without a plan. That's why it's really important to achieve the goal setting with the right scheduling as well. Seven, interpersonal. Interpersonal skills is related to the consulting, diplomacy, mentoring, and listening. But Actually, if there is no past experiences, you might not need to input it onto your resume. Maybe you are not someone who is kind of extrovert to give another people a kind of consulting, but at least show that you are a good listener. Okay, next, creativity. Like in the previous slide, if we talk about the creativity, it related to the imagination, inspiration, innovation, and curiosity. We cannot be creative when we don't have curiosity. So we also have to maintain our curiosity. That's why we need to have a growth mindset, because when we have a fixed mindset, of course, we are not going to be curious in everything that happen around us. But if we are having a broad mindset, then we might be curious for learning something new, to explore something new as well. Okay, this is the highlight for the communication. So what are the things we must know to communicate well? First, to make the communication effective, one must know the reason behind their talk. We can't just talk anything, anywhere. Make sure you know what and where are you talking, and then talk. Just because you want to get praise or get validation from another people that you are having communication, it doesn't mean that you always have to talk all the time in every topic. So that's why it's really important to understand the reason why you are talking. If you don't have something important, it's better to be silent, because silent can be gold as well. Second, sometimes we are in a hurry to tell what we are thinking, but to make your communication more effective, learn how to listen to people first. So in case you might not really sure that you want to address your thought, so in the first beginning step, you better try to listen what other people trying to talk to you, instead of jumping in the conversation and try to talk something that might not necessary to talk. Third, think twice. Ask yourself if what you are about to talk is good enough. Will it really be helpful for people to understand what exactly you are feeling? If it's not, then it's better silent. An effective talk is the one that is successful in delivering the exact message to the listeners. Sometimes when it comes to the personal feeling, we might talk about something that another people actually don't want to listen or don't want to hear about. So in a public conversation, we have to make sure, is it really okay if we get kind of the communication we receive from other people? If it's not, then it's better to be silent. Next, tips for better communication. First, try to make a various connection. Don't be a stranger that just jump to the conversation. Second, understand the needs, what others want to listen to from you. In a formal environment or in a formal situation, when we want to address our thoughts, we have to understand what is this are going to bring us. If there is no anywhere, or if it's not getting us anywhere, then we better don't talk about it. Third, begin with the introduction of the topic. We might have felt before, when we try to talk about something, maybe another people just forgot about the previous conversation that we just had, or maybe they are also not fully paying attention at that moment, so we cannot actually jump right to the conversation. So when we want to talk about something, it's better we try to begin with the introduction of the topic, so those people with us can understand what actually we are trying to talk, so they don't get confused. Next, speak with confidence and polite. This is really important. Many people these days seems like, okay, they really have a high standard of self-confidence, and it brings them with polite. So when you talk with confidence, you also have to maintain that you need to be polite. Just because you are a confident person, it doesn't mean you can say something that might be hurtful for another person or something that can show the selfishness from your side. Next, take care of your feelings. It means that when you try to communicate with another person, maybe their story and our story doesn't match. So maybe they have something kind of words that might hurt us, but we actually don't need to take it personal if we want to make a better communication, because our view and another people's view might be different, and our start of thinking with another people's start of thinking also might be different. That's why it's really important to take care of our feelings and then don't be too much take personal things when we are having communication with another. Next, try to cover all the topics. Even though it's really important to cover all the topics, we also need to understand that we try our best to cover all the topics that actually important for us and for the listener as well. Next, talk something specific and positive, which doesn't hurt the listener. Like I have explained before, we have to be positive when we talk about the anything to another people, because yeah, we don't know what they have been through. We don't know what kind of the things that just happened with them. Maybe they were fine yesterday, but maybe at the day we just met with that person, like maybe 30 minutes ago before we met with that person, there was something happened with them. So they become in a sensitive level at the time when you are talking with that person. So that's why it's really important, because we don't know actually what's the current state of feeling of the another person that we are talking to. Next, fifth trick to win people's heart with your communication skills. First, repeat the person's name. Whenever you have a conversation with someone, the best thing you can do to impress them is to remember their name. Call them by name. Praise them for such a good name. So when it comes to the first impression, and you might introduce yourself and other people introduce themselves as well, try to remember at least their first name, so you can go on the communication or the conversation with mention about their name, and they might feel like, okay, this person really paid attention to what I'm talking, so they don't feel like you are being rude or not paying attention. Next, repeat what you hear. One of the best way to prove that you are interested and is listening to them is you can repeat what the second person just said. Not every time, but sometime in between. When we talk about the active listening, you have to be understand that you need to repeat, or just to make sure that you are listening by repeating or paraphrasing the sentence or the words or the story that are people talking to us. Third, be a good listener. We are all very enthusiastic to tell everything we know, but if you really want to win somebody's heart, speak 20% and listen 80%. You know, when we have something to tell, you might be very excited to tell about something, to share new things, to share the new information, because you know that there's so much information in your brain and you want to share it to them. So you become really excited and you want to tell them with a really hard enthusiasm. But it's really good that in order to win their attention, try to be a good listener. Just because you have a great information, you don't need to take 100% of the scenario. You can put 20% and then listen 80%. Four, talk on the other person's interest. Make sure the most of the topics are in favor of the other person and not yours. Because if you only talk about your interest, then another people might think that you are selfish. Okay, if we talk about communication, and active listening, you actually can afford to listen fully. The first A is the attention. Give the speaker your full attention. Turn your body toward them and make eye contact. Don't multitask. Give indication that you are listening by nodding or saying yes or making appropriate facial expression that so that person can feel like, okay, you do really listening to them. Next, focus. Focus on what the speaker is saying. Don't think about your argument, what you're going to say next, or anything else but the message you are receiving. Maybe when someone talk about the new information or someone talk about something that they are having on their thought, you might hold a kind of arguments or you might disagree with that person. So you want to say something, you want to argue with them, hold it back. Try to focus to listen to them. Next, feelings. Identify the feelings behind the message. If the topic is sensitive or involves emotion, listen for what those feelings are. Identify how the speaker feels about the topic they are sharing with you. I'm sure that you can notice easily what kind of the topics that not people try to talk to you. You might notice since the beginning when they try to introduce you the topic that you want to share. You can really connect if there is some sensitive stuff. You can try to be a good listener instead of jump to your own opinion. Next, observe. Watch body language to see if it reinforces the message or inconsistent with what speaker is telling you. When it comes to the source of new information or new story that another person tells to us, we have to understand about the physical body language because maybe what they are talking to us is not real, right? Next, restate or rephrase. If you want the speaker to feel heard and you want to reinforce your hearing correctly, try to rephrase the message if you cannot repeat exactly what they just heard. Next, determine. Verify you understand correctly if you are unclear. After paraphrasing back, simply ask, do I understand correctly? If you're still not clear, ask for the clarification. Next, 5 common things people with good communication skills have. First, they are confident in their voice. Good communicators have confidence in their voice that easily motivates the listener. You cannot be a good communication if you don't have a confidence, okay? Next, they talk to the point. They don't just speak out something to make people happy, but they speak the truth and to the point. Their thoughts are very powerful. They changes the listener minds positively. Sometimes people are really good at addressing something that might actually like provoke it to some condition, but a real good communicator, they try to change the listener mindset in a positive way. Third, ask questions in between. These people ask questions in between to make sure that the listener are getting the exact message. Fourth, have control on their nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication means body language and facial expression. People who have good communication skill have good control over it. They don't just listen and be like a statue. They try to make an eye contact. They try to make a body language as well. Next, leadership. So how to build a leadership skill? First, practice and discipline. A good leader always works with discipline. You cannot be a good leader when you don't have a discipline. So that's why you need to practice discipline for your own self first, then try to implement with another people. Next, take on more projects. You can become a good leader by taking responsibilities. You have more responsibility and more work experiences you get, and hence you become a good leader. When you become a leader and you have only few experiences, it might make you come to the situation that is new and you don't know how to solve the current problem. That's why it's really important to take on more projects. Next, learn to follow. Follow some great personality. It will motivate you while working, follow the rules as well and regulation, which will help you to maintain a good image. Just because you are a leader, it doesn't mean that you don't want to follow another great person. Try to modeling from a good role models. Next, inspire others. Create a personality that people get inspired by you. Though it can be a tough job, so you can motivate other people towards their goal direction. Even if you cannot actually explain the motivation, you can make a good state by asking them what is the goal for them and try to rephrasing it and try to motivate and include some words. Next, keep learning. Learning is a continuous process, so try to master the things you know. Learning new skills and tricks to manage your work can give a great impact on your career. Remember, a growth mindset person are those people who want to be a long life learner. So they keep learning something new. They didn't limit themselves. Next, resolve conflict. Try to solve problems. Think practically and solve them by mutual understanding. So how do you lead a team through a change? First, engage and discuss with your team about what is the major cause for the change. Then open communication is a must. After you engage and discuss, you have to make an open communication. Next, conduct brainstorming session and find out the level of the team. So create a contingency plan or strategy after you have a brainstorming session. After that, discuss the end result or end goal, and then over support and guidance to team. After you have a great strategic plan and discuss the end result, it's really important to support and guidance the team. Don't assume that those people don't need support after you already have the brainstorming session. Next, delegate the tasks and empower your team. Remember, those people in your team really need kind of the motivation from you. That's why it's really important for you to empower them as a leader. Next, don't let the fear manifest. And the last one is follow the important step discussed here, successfully lead the team through change in the organization. After that, 5 ways to build trust on your team. The first thing you will need to build trust is transparency. Next, stop the habit of blaming. If your team or your project face the failure, make sure that you don't have the habit of blaming. If anything or if failure happens, you need learn from it, not blaming the person maybe who is in charge. Even if you know someone who is in charge, it's really important to try make sure what actually happened and what actually is problem in this session. Next, don't just see the employee's dream, and also don't pastor your team with rules, because if you talk about the student college or the people who are already working, they are not a child. They actually have the rules that need to follow in the companies, but don't make your team feel like you pastor with the rules, because they also want to have a freedom in order to be creative. Fifth, spend time with your team members. Don't control and operate your team by sitting inside your room. Try to interact with your team members. Next, the 5 powerful formulas to develop your problem solving. First, if you want to improve problems in life, divide your problems into small parts and see how easy to get a solution. Second, ask so many questions to yourself like, what are the things you can do to overcome your problems? Is there something you need to improve yourself in order to reduce something, or try all the different scopes and possibility of problem solving? Third, understand the purpose of your life. As soon as you understand it and get serious about it, you can easily find a solution to your problem, because then all your intention is to reach your goal. No problem in life is that big after you understand your life's purpose. Fourth, understand what's right for you. Are the problems in your life matter? If it's not matter, maybe in 1 year, then you don't have to think much about it. Next, 5 steps to solve a problem. The first thing is identify the problem. You do really need to identify it. Then generate ideas. Generate several ideas for solving issue. Not all of them will work, but you are not trying to pick out ones that will and will not work during this step. Just generate as many ideas as you can. So you try to critical thinking. Third, evaluate ideas. Go through and figure out which ideas are ones to try and which one to leave behind. Fourth, decide on a solution and try it. Pick an idea for solving the problem and give it a try. Fifth, did it work? After you tried to solve the problem, check it to see if it worked or not. If it didn't, then just go back and pick another solution that you thought during the step 3. Okay, these are some question outlining the problem. When you are facing the problem, you have to notice what consequence will arise if you do nothing. Or the simple is, when did the problem start, or how did the problem start? Flesh out the details and also the nuance. And the most important thing is start with the original problem aspect. Why is it happening? Next, time management. There are 5 to-do list mistakes that people do when it comes to the time management. They don't write down the schedule, they don't focus, they are too general in the on the plan or the project that they want to achieve, and there's no time blocking and no rest period. That's why it's really important to try Pomodoro technique, where you set up the first 25 minutes, then you take a rest, and then you start again until you finish. And if you already take 4 time for the break, like 25 minutes break, and then repeat it until 4 times, you then can try to set the time longer than 25 minutes, because when you try to work on something and you give the brain rest, it will be much better than keep going on and on. Next, the time management. Some habit that should be stopped to do time management. Try not to do everything depending upon the mood. Next, not planning properly what you need to do. Third, don't do last minute things. Fourth, writing the records but not having a second look. Don't keep your schedule very hard for your day, and then don't accept many tasks without planning. Be active, don't be lazy. And then poor punctuality and do everything with perfection. This is some habit that you should stop in order to have a great time management. So what are the benefits of time management? You can deliver work on time, or maybe your tasks on time. You don't have any stress and tension. You can even save some time to spend with your family and friends because you allocate the time perfectly. You can have more opportunities and career growth because people see your efforts. Next, your productivity increases. You will also be recommended by people. You don't face the procrastination, and you get enough time for professional as well as personal life because you maintain your time well, and you can make time for revision because you are not in a hurry. So how to stop procrastination and get things done on time? First, stop being a perfectionist. Second, break your tasks down to lessen the sense of being overwhelmed. Third, set specific deadline for your tasks, because when you don't have specific deadline, then it can be fall trap. Fourth, eliminate the distraction around you and create a stress-free work environment. 6, ask for help to tackle the challenges that deter you from getting started. 7, remind yourself of the end of the goal so you can feel motivated again. 8, come up with the rewards you will receive to get motivated. 9, tell others about your goals. And 10, have positive thinking. So to attract better, you have to become better. You cannot do the same things and expect change. And transform your mindset, upgrade your habits, think positive, be hopeful and consistent with your evolution. It all starts with you and how you feel about yourself. So how to stop taking personally in order to achieve anything? First, realize that other people's rudeness is not about you, and when someone is rude, it's likely to be a reflection of their own issue. Second, ask yourself when what else common or behavior might mean. Third, take comments or criticism in a constructive way. Ask yourself if there's any truth to it or not. If there's no, then you don't have to take it. Fourth, take a different perspective. Ask yourself how an unbiased outsider would see the situation. Don't take anything only in your point of view. Fifth, realize that you cannot please everyone. So it's okay if you cannot make everyone happy, okay? Six, know that you are not defined by your mistakes or criticism. Seven, realize that your self-worth depends on you. It doesn't depend on what others say about you. So I think that's all my presentation for today. Thank you for listening to me. I do really hope that you can learn something from me today.